Hello.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, sorry. Dropping my phone.
It's funny because when I set up these meetings, I do it without video, but if you sign in and use your video, you can still come through. So
It looks like your dog is talking to me.
I know that's my screen without
Yes.
sharing mine. It's like a screensaver.
Yeah. It's
So.
got that great look on his face.
I'm just checking off the box of who's calling in here as they do. So.
Okay, I'll mute myself.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I'm going to unmute Julia. Hi,
Hi,
Julia.
this is Hank here.
Hi, Hank.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Hi, Dick.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I think I'm pretty well.
Oh, that's what matters.
Is everybody still healthy?
Yes. Yes,
Good.
we are. So let me see. I have oh, sorry. All right, so I have Dick Bennett. I have Julie. Julie Atwell, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi there.
Hello.
Chief Pearlie, I see you are here and I have you muted so far until you need to speak. And then I hear Hank. And Kevin Bennett, I see you're on the phone as well.
Barb, I know you were talking to Emily earlier. I forgot to add her name to the agenda.
Okay.
She has an update for us.
Okay. Four, three, six, five. I don't see John on here quite yet.
Who are we missing?
Mr. Allen.
Mr. John Allen?
Mr. John Allen, I don't see him on the phone anywhere.
He said he was calling from home.
Mm-hmm. He just came on. There we go. Hi, John.
Hello.
All right.
How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Very well.
Dick is on. Julie Atwell is on. We have a bunch of other people that are on, but they are on mute. So until we need to hear from them, I think we're ready to start. And also, Kathleen is on. Chief Pearlie is on. So I believe all the folks that are on that are going to, Karen Burton is on. So everyone that's on the agenda to speak is on the call.
All righty. Sounds good.
All right, then I'm going to call the meeting to order. The May 12th, 2020 regular meeting of the Jackson Select Board. First, so I'm called to order. And Barb, if you would, you're up.
Okay. It's a letter that I'm going to read, and it's a tribute to Tom Gregg, who most of you know, or all of you know, and he passed away. So I'm going to read this into the minutes. It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of Tom Gregg, Jackson's health officer and emergency management director, of complications due to stomach and esophageal cancer on Sunday, May 3rd, 2020. Tom had served the town in these roles since he was first appointed in 2013. A resident of Jackson for the past 18 years, Tom also served on the Bartlett-Jackson ambulance from 2008 to 2020. In the words of Joe Roman, EMT, Tom became an integral member of the Bartlett-Jackson ambulance service. He quickly became an essential part of the team, continually putting the needs of the service ahead of his own. Tom became a consistent role model on the ambulance, a figure members would turn to and rely on in times of need. His devotion and compassion for the relationships he developed while serving these neighborhoods will live on as a reminder to what we can all accomplish in our communities with the right fortitude, ethics, and moral compass. Bartlett and Jackson are infinitely better places because of Tom Gregg. He will be greatly missed by those who knew him, worked alongside him, and were lucky enough to call him a friend. Tom was also a member of the Jackson Fire Department. He was instrumental in bringing innovative programs and opportunities to our town, while always keeping taxpayers in mind. He helped to partner with other town departments to create the Jackson Neighbor Care Program, accessed grant funding to offset costs for emergency generators for both the town offices and the fire department, and organized with state officials to have one of the emergency management trailers located here in Jackson, and helped in the updating of our hazardous mitigation plan. He was always on the lookout for trainings to bring to our town staff and residents that enabled people to increase their skills to better deal with health and safety emergencies. These trainings include mental health first aid, Narcan trainings, CPR AED training, and solo wilderness first aid training for both police and fire department staff. We will miss the great snacks he shared at safety committee meetings, and although he lived here in the mountains, he was always a man of the sea at heart and never hesitated to share a story or insight about life under sail. Thank you, Tom, for all your hard work and dedication to the town of Jackson. You will be missed. And personally, I would like to say that I had encounters with Tom as well as he served on the ambulance, and he was nothing but the most gracious, kind, caring, and supportive person. So thank you for allowing me to read this dedication to him.
Thank you, Barbara. That
Thank
was
you.
a fine statement for Tom,
Yes.
and we will all miss him. I couldn't have done it.
Thank you.
Now we need to approve or discuss the minutes for our last meeting of April 28th. Were there any corrections to the minutes?
I have none.
I have none.
Well, then we should approve them.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the Selectmen's meeting on April 28th.
And I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Now for our discussion today, we'll start with the Chamber of Commerce. We have Kathleen Driscoll and Chief Pearlie will weigh in on the upcoming events for the Chamber.
And I believe both of you are off mute, so whenever you want to speak up.
Well, I'll defer to Kathleen to start. Ladies first.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a Board of Directors meeting, which we did invite Chief Curley, who accepted the invitation, on May 19th, which we will discuss it more, but we look to you guys to take the lead and guide us through this very challenging times. We definitely will move the duck race, and we don't know how you feel about having the go forward plan for the fireworks. But again, we will always look to you guys to help guide us.
What I'd like to add, thank you, Kathleen. What I'd like to add to that is, I've been working with Kathleen and the board to kind of integrate the emergency orders along with their projected plans for activities. Probably the first victim of the pandemic is the duck race, simply because we're at stage 1 in the governor's reopening plan, and stage 1 still does not allow groups larger than 10. So that has to be my advice is moved, rather than canceled, provided, I know there's a lot of strings associated with unraveling and tying up an event. So, my recommendation was kind of defer it rather than cancel it outright. And the next big one, of course, is the fireworks. I'm hoping that June 1st, everything is going well. We get to stage 2. It's unclear if stage 2 is going to include gatherings of greater than 50, but there may be some provisions for outdoor events versus indoor events. Right now, they've already they're allowing gatherings outdoors at establishments in roped off areas. So that may be a nice kind of canary in the coal mine to see if it's going to work and be workable and not create greater transmission. So that's, to me, that's the one to watch, is really how we do with outdoor events moving closer towards June 28th, which is the target date for the fireworks. That being said, I don't know contractually what the drop dead date is for the chamber for any event, and we'll probably discuss that at the 19th. But that's what I'm kind of watching the emergency orders as they relate to outdoor events, because that's our next thing on the table.
And we're right in line with you, Chris. We're always behind you.
Great. Sorry for the view if you're behind me, but thanks for the support.
Oh, good.
I have just one question. Was that 10 ducks, groups of 10 ducks, or 10 people? I was just curious.
Right now, I think it's people, John.
Okay, my question is, Bennett, excuse me. My question is, when do we have to notify the fireworks company? And I'm sure you can find that out by your May 19th meeting, but I don't want to be putting it too late, because they have commitments, or they may have a display they can put on in a lake, or without a crowd gathered in a really spot. That's it.
I've been in touch with them, and I let them know that we will give them a date after the 19th of May, after we've had a chance to just go over everything. So they know that it's coming.
Well, they must be aware that everything's up in the air at this point.
Yes. Yes, they are.
And
Any possible alternate date for the duck race and
Well, again,
Right.
like Chris said, we're watching all the emergency orders and things like that. We're hoping to do it the same day as the Covered Bridge Dance, which is August 1st, the first Saturday in August. But again, it depends on how everything starts to open up and when gatherings of more than 350 can be, or up to 350 can be handled.
Right.
Okay, any further input for the chamber?
I just had a question. This is Emily. Kathy, did you say
Hi, Emily.
Hi. Did you say the date for that for the fireworks here is June 28th? That's the scheduled date?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, then I think we should move on to our next agenda item, and that's a clarification on tax payments, emergency order number 25 from the governor.
Hey, Dick, but I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second. I think Chief Purley had one more announcement to make.
Okay.
Oh, yes, he did. He was going to make another announcement while he had the floor.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Are you?
Thank you, Dick. I had sent a writing to Dick regarding Martin Bork's graduation. I'll read it into the record. It's fairly brief, as brief as I can be. And it's regarding his graduation and return. So on April 28th, Officer Martin Bork graduated from the 181st class of the New Hampshire Police Academy in Concord, New Hampshire. The intense residential program covered various subjects, including physical fitness, crime scene investigation, constitutional law, and emergency driving. The 181st class will always be historically associated with the COVID-19 pandemic due to its impact on the learning environment. With 5 weeks left in the 16-week program, all the recruits were sent home to begin distance learning for the remainder of the curriculum. And although that was done in an effort to protect the students and staff from the coronavirus, it resulted in Officer Bork being exposed not once but twice by family members who had contracted the disease while they were serving in essential positions. So with less than a year on the job, and even before he graduated the academy, Martin Bork has the distinction of being quarantined longer than any other first responder in the state of New Hampshire. And I'd like to add that while he was quarantined, officially quarantined, he was still attending to all his studies in a home that they were remodeling the kitchen right before he came back home because his parents were empty nesters. And all he had to use to cook meals for himself and for his family was a microwave that they had put in the living room. They certainly didn't expect everything to come to a grinding halt. So he maintained a positive attitude. He helped care for his sick family members and passed all his requirements and is now a certified police officer in the state of New Hampshire. And I just think his perseverance and his positive attitude, we were in touch with him multiple times a week, and his personal courage. It had to be a very scary situation, having both your parents sick, being exposed to the virus, and having to deal with the unique way they were all learning to become certified. And they didn't cut anybody any slack, that's for sure. They still had to meet all the requirements. I think it's a noteworthy accomplishment, and it was all done on behalf of the people and the town of Jackson and the Jackson Police Department. So I just wanted to read that into the record and congratulate Marty and also welcome him back.
Thank you, Chief. I'm sure that Marty will be a great asset to the department in Jackson, and we should all be grateful to have him.
Thank you, Dick.
Glad he's healthy again.
Yes, yes.
All right, well, now I think we'll move on to clarification of tax payments. As I said, emergency order 25, and it deals with some relief of the interest on late payment of taxes. Karen, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to weigh in on this?
Absolutely. I gathered some documents that will help clarify a little bit. So in regards to the emergency order 25, the legal counsel for New Hampshire Tax Collectors Association had sent us a letter, and in it, I'm highlighting points that he wrote. He does not believe that the order prohibits the imposition of a tax lien to secure payment of unpaid taxes. That's mostly in regards to your 2019 taxes. So I'm just stating that for record because at one point this summer, I am required by law to continue with that process. That interest has nothing to do with what we're talking about now because we're talking about the 2020 July taxes. And I believe that's what the governor said regarding the emergency order 25, and that would be regarding this current year's taxes. It does say that the possible abatement of interest on property taxes is written as an authorization. The power rests with the governing body and not the tax collector. And it would be up to the individual governing body to decide how to waive the interest on unpaid taxes. Here's my suggestion, and this is for you to all decide how you want to handle it, is according to the notes here, we also definitely have to do, it has to be uniform across the board to everybody. And we have to provide everyone equal protection. So if we're going to offer this, it has to be across the board to the same people, to everyone who can participate. A lot of state agencies who had various deadlines for different reasons have extended the deadlines to 60 or 90 days after the state of emergency. Of course, it may not be regarding taxes, it could be motor vehicles or marriage license. But I'm just letting you know that's what some of the agencies are doing. So if you choose to waive interest regarding the July bill that's coming, then that's what you want to decide to do and how you want to word it. If you want to do it only during the state of emergency or up to a certain date after. And we can, as things progress every week or every month, if they release that state of emergency, we'll have a better time frame. So if you choose to waive the interest, that would be my suggestion, is follow whatever the state is doing as far as being aware of this state of emergency, when it ends, and if you decide to extend it past a certain number of days to allow people to get back on their feet. People can make payment arrangements or make arrangements in the meantime with the town clerk's office, as long as we're not in the deeding process. Up until that point, and that's usually a couple of years out, anyone can make a payment arrangement or monthly payments with the town clerk's office or the tax collector. Does that help
Okay,
you at all?
thank you. That's a lot to take in quickly, but I think we should process it. Certainly the selectmen have some decisions to make on it. I would like to think of it on a case-to-case basis. I don't think it should be, just across the board. I think we can certainly defer or not charge any interest while the emergency order is still in place, and then after that, we can decide on a reasonable time frame.
Absolutely.
But then I think we still have to take each case one at a time. That's my thought at this time.
Take them one case at a time after the state of emergency.
After the state of emergency. Other comments?
I agree with that as well. I don't think we should do any kind of blanket waiver or whatever. I think it should be taken on an individual basis as well.
How many cases are we talking here, though?
We don't have any idea.
Right.
Well,
And
like Dick said, that's as of today, right?
Yeah, you're right. As of today, we technically don't have any.
Well, we won't know much until, the tax bills go out at the end of May,
End of May.
I believe, or the beginning of June. And we don't know what the governor's orders will be at that time. We'll just have to keep playing it by ear. I mean, pay attention and try to do our very best.
Sounds good.
We always try to do our best.
Absolutely.
Okay, then. Thank you, Karen.
All right, just a clarification. I want to make sure, are we all in agreement this does not, emergency order 25 does not, as far as we know from the attorneys, it does not affect the 2019 taxes or prior. It's only regarding 2020. Just want to make sure the four of us are all thinking the same.
Correct.
Correct.
That's my understanding.
That's what I'm hearing.
All right, thank you. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Thank you.
And then Karen, don't leave yet.
Nope.
Right.
Where am
And item 3, under 4.
I? Okay. Tax payments. Oh, my screen just went away.
It's the deputy town clerk tax collector reappointment.
Yes.
And that would be Karen again.
Yep. That is just an oath that would need to be signed so that every time this position as a town clerk tax collector gets elected, the deputy position must always be reappointed at the same time. So it's a formality that we need this document for the files.
Okay, then will we have a document to sign for that?
There will be, it's at the town offices for you to come to your leisure.
Okay, I would think that we'll all get in to sign that.
Yep.
As soon as we can. I sneak in after hours myself. I'm sure
That's fine. You'll
everybody
be
has.
go to the Julie's.
So is there any part of it that we have to do face to face?
No, there is not.
Okay. Well, when I can, I will get in and sign that document as soon as it's
Yep.
ready.
At me as well.
All right, then now I think we can move on to short-term rental conditional use permit application. That application has come out online, but John, I guess you wanted to have a hard copy?
Just for my own records, I don't, like I said, I don't have a printer or anything like that. I looked at it and, it looked fine to me. Don't have any real comments to add or anything on it, but I just want a hard copy for my records, that's all.
Absolutely. I'm sure that they can burn you a copy at the office and put it in your file there, or however you want it. You want it mailed to you? You want one just sent out? That might be quicker, but you'll be in to. However you want to do it, work that out with Julie Atwell or Julie Hoyt. And, well, what do you think about approving it at this time? If you've read it, Barb, have you read it?
I have read it, but I'd like to read it again. So if we could just put it off until the next meeting, I just want to make sure it all makes sense and include.
Absolutely.
So I'd just like another couple weeks.
No, I am taking your time, and it's a lot to absorb on a short term. So yeah, maybe we should all get a hard copy that we can just do, a little reading before we go to sleep at night. Okay.
Sounds good.
That'll be fine. We'll take that up at our next meeting, which will be on
May 26th.
26th of May. Okay. Now we have to decide which one of you is going to be the selectman's representative to the planning board.
And I nominate you, Dick.
Huh. John, do you want to step in and take it yourself?
Not really. I really find that's your expertise. That's one thing I'm kind of hoping you would do for us.
All right, I have been nominated. We better take a vote.
I vote for Dick.
I'll second the nomination, I guess.
Thank you, Dick. We appreciate it.
All in favor? I'm sure you are.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'm there.
Thank
Well, somebody has to do it, so.
Oh, you're good at it, though.
Yeah.
Actually, I enjoy the board. It's a good place, and it's where some new thinking takes place. All right, then I have a note that the town offices are closed, but they are still doing business, and they're trying very hard to meet everyone's needs. So I guess there's been some comment in the community that the office is closed. Well, it's closed to the public, but it is still doing business, and actually it's doing a lot of business because I keep checking in and it seems there is always something going on. So if people hear this or have any questions or business they would like to conduct, they can email or call into the office during office hours. There's usually somebody there. If not, be a little patient and leave a message, and your needs will be taken care of and addressed as quickly as we can. Okay, then my next, is to say that the town is participating in the first responder COVID-19 stipend program, which is reimbursed through the CARE Act, so that first responders, fire department, police department, ambulance service are getting a stipend from the government, and we pay it, but we've already started the process of getting the reimbursement. So it's good for them. I thought it was a nice gesture. It certainly partially covers the time and effort that they're all putting in on our behalf. So I think it's a worthwhile program, and we can be pursuing it as far as we can.
Yeah, I know a lot of
Any
time is
questions?
spent by, Emily and Jay and Kevin and all those guys on the webinars, however many a week that you guys attend. So that is definitely appreciated.
Oh, and the concentration. I've sat in on a couple, and I mean, you really have to kick. You better bring a thermos of coffee because it can go on for a while.
Agreed.
And then
Okay,
I
well-
didn't have Emily on the agenda, but she is here to speak about their schedule.
Yes. Emily, if you would like to weigh in at this point.
Update. Oh boy.
There you go. I just unmuted you. Go ahead.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I had shared an update. Did you all see the update? Sort of a
Yeah,
synopsis
was very
on
good.
things. Just trying to keep you all, apprised of what we've got going on. The different funding sources. There is a conference call that's happening on Thursday. I've been working with Julie Atwell on trying to determine. We have established, the town of Jackson, the grants portal, and working with Chief Purley on that to see what expenses that we do have, that we might have. It's really difficult because there's no end date to the pandemic, and we're not quite sure what's coming on. So we're just making sure that we are aware of all the different funding opportunities. That being said, correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, but right now it's, the firefighters, they have the stipend. Chief Purley put in for some masks or gloves, I think. Was that a cost?
Well, no, nothing has been, the only thing that's been submitted so far for reimbursement are the stipends. However, I did get more information today about the CARES Act reimbursement, and we have so far we have 3 dates in which we have to submit by for periods of time. So for instance, by June 1st, we have to submit everything from March 1st up through May 31st.
Okay.
And so on.
Okay, great. So it is, it's complicated, but we're working away on that. One thing that was brought forward, which I'm working on this with Gloria Hutchings, was a concern about PPE for the election processes. And what is the capacity of the state to provide face masks, gloves. Been in touch with folks at the state and our field representative Heidi Lawton, and there is, and this is just for everybody, I don't know if Kathy's still on, but there is a form online that businesses can fill out to receive face masks, and this is, again, just face masks. But we're trying to get an idea of, and I think this is going to be across the state, how much is available for the needs of municipalities with the elections that we have coming up. So, and what is going to be the guidelines that are put forward by the state, that you have to be able to provide masks, you know, when people come in to register or to vote. So we're working away on that. So any other, that's really the only other things that came up outside of what I put together in that report, unless you all have any other questions.
Nope.
Well, I have a question now, Emily. This is Dick Bennett. Are the supplies for the election workers or for people coming to vote?
Well, this is what we're trying to get an idea of. I mean, if it was for the election workers, we're not talking too much. But if there is a requirement that everyone has to have face masks, and for example, if you go into the hospital, if you don't have a face mask, they give you one. If that's something that's going to be required to be, that everyone, you know, you cannot come in and vote unless you have a mask, so you have to be able to provide somebody with that. Is that, you know, how is that going to be funded? Are those masks are they going to be distributed by the state? Is there going to be the opportunity to recoup those expenses through some of these other funding sources? That's something that trying to figure out. So, and with that being said, I think, I don't know if Karen's still on, but I believe it was the first date was June 2nd that was coming up with some voter registration, or there's a meeting of the supervisors of the checklist, something going on. So,
Yes, I am there.
oh, great.
There is a meeting here on June 2nd that the supervisors must be here for, and what we're being told by our Zoom meetings that we had with the government last week for 3 days is that we're going to need PPE for that meeting, which should be minor. Like they will need masks, gloves, and whatever else that is going to protect them from the general public coming into the town offices to vote. The people coming in may need gloves if they have to come into the building, especially weather. But we also were told during the meetings last week, we need to prepare for the September and November election and how to protect the employees, the volunteers, and the public coming in. And apparently the state got $3.2 million to help with elections to pay for these things. So the town has to ask for that.
So it's the numbers, I guess, that I'm being asked. How many do you think? Because it might not be, it's through a different channel, it sounds like, to ask for those masks other than the business form.
Got it. And just as a heads up, it has really not for you, Emily, but in the back of everyone's head, we've been, according to last week's meetings, they brought it to our attention that the voting facility would need to be cleaned, sterilized the day before and the day after. Therefore, the school would be closed for 3 days. And it's not so much going in and having the maintenance guy clean. It needs to be basically sterilized top to bottom. So that's the meeting we got last week. So we're talking about the town would have to pay for an expense of deep cleaning the Whitney Center before and after, just as a heads up.
Okay, so see, that's exactly these kinds of expenses that, you know, as we continue on through, you know, through these unusual times, to be able to start, any kind of price that you can get on that, I would think, to be able to get that to Julie. Right, Julie? Does that make sense?
It does. At what point would you, I know, Karen, you've talked about the possibility of trying to create like a drive-through type of voting situation, which would, move it from the Whitney Center. At what point do you need to have those decisions made?
Right now, according to state laws, Conway's doing a drive-through this week for their voting. Unfortunately, it's only allowed for town. It's not allowed for state or federal. So at last week's meeting, they were really asking about the possibility. So unless they change it at the state level by some laws, as of right now, it's not an option. So hopefully they change that option so maybe we could do things right in front of the building and keep everyone in their cars so that we can process them that way. November will be a little interesting. It might be colder, but if we can get through September with that option, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
It seems like for the CARES Act, as far as getting reimbursed for things so far, it seems like they have, a couple of months worth of activity, and then you can request it. So that's something that we can see what happens as things progress. And I did look, and they have the distribution. We can't get more than like $19,000. That's our maximum that's set aside for Jackson.
Okay.
So can we put in for masks now? I mean, I would think that on election day alone, we wouldn't be remiss to have, 500 masks available. I mean, not everybody's going to need one, but we certainly don't want to turn people away from the polls just because they didn't bring a face mask with them. So I don't know, maybe 300, but I think we need a good number of them to make sure everybody can come in and vote, if that is the procedure that we go through.
We were told last week with the money the state got regarding elections, it is possible, someone brought it up, if they could do a counting machine like Bartlett just got. And because of the circumstances with COVID, if Jackson wanted to get a counting machine, the money the state has received for COVID would cover a counting machine. I'm just letting you know that's what they said last week.
Okay.
Because we're talking 20 people plus at the end of the night counting in a small space.
Yeah. And we're going to have to be prepared to do a lot of mail-in ballots. I would think they'd be really popular with the elections coming up because that keeps you out of the limelight.
Yep.
But anyway,
80%.
we have a lot to think about.
So Karen, it seems like if you all were to put together sort of a proposal on all the different resources that will be needed, number of masks, if there's a bid for the deep cleaning of the voting, of the Whitney, that would probably be the way to go, right? And then we'll figure out.
I think so. I mean, we got to figure out how many people might be willing to volunteer on election day, how many people will be exposed to us, counting the people who come in for counting at night.
Yeah, you gotta
as
think
far
of everything.
I don't know what companies the state recommends that it's the Selectmen's office who provides the materials and the voting location. Unless, of course, we're lucky and we get to change it or tweak it, but we won't know that until, a little more. They started talking options last week.
Okay. Well, it sounds like that discussions, they're still going on. So
I'll start coming up with some numbers. And if you could tell us what types of things are out there for options. Obviously, I know about masks and gloves, but I don't know what else is recommended safety or PPE material. So I would need someone to say, this is what it's used for. Do you need it? And then Gloria and I can talk to you about it and find out if we need those types of things.
Okay. Well, I can certainly ask these, these calls that we have 3 times a week, and then just connect with you, Julie, on any information that you find out.
Yes, I'm going to be getting things kind of put together so that I can submit before the June 1st date for the first round of reimbursement.
Okay, all right, so beginning that. And just one final thing, Jay and I just briefly talked a little bit about, you know, appointing a new health officer and a deputy EMD. So we're thinking about that.
Mhm.
But that's all. I'll let you know.
Emily, as you have names for the deputy, I don't think we have to look for a health officer beyond you, but unless you don't want to do it.
Well, we're
But
going
a
to put forward.
deputy, you might bring the names forward or a name forward so we can have that to deal with.
Yeah, we thought we'd be in touch with you.
Great.
And that's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And thank you very much for all your efforts. You're
Yeah,
putting in a lot of time for the town of Jackson, and we certainly appreciate it.
Well, thanks. It's been very interesting learning all kinds of new things. So.
That is a wonderful attitude.
Yep. Keeping our town, hopefully, safe from COVID.
no kidding.
Okay. Well, thank you again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, is Kevin Bennett around?
He just had to leave, so he's not available.
No. It's his turn.
No, he's got to go to a class.
All right. Well, we have building. Oh. We have building permits.
Yeah.
5 of them.
Mhm.
Let's see, Cameron Drive is a new single-family home. Toll Road has a new metal roof. Wentworth Condos, deck repair, switchback. We have a new 5-bedroom, 5-bath home. And Mallet Corp would like to convert the front dining room at the Red Fox to takeout and prepared food store.
Excuse me.
And they would add an entrance door for that. I think that all those building permits have been approved by Kevin. So that's definitely just, you know, for our information and for everybody's information that those projects will be going forward. So at this time, are there any other issues to speak of?
I don't have
I have
anything.
none.
John, you good?
I have none, no.
Julie Atwell?
All set.
Well then, I think we've conducted another Zoom meeting.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that Zoom meeting adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Dick.
much.
Emily and everybody else that does their job around here. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm truly impressed at how well the town keeps running. I talked with the
Agreed.
highway department and they're still, you know, chugging along. The office is certainly doing everything they can. Town clerk, tax collector, I'm just amazed at the hours that have to go in just doing research. So I'm really happy with what everybody is doing for the town of Jackson. Thank you.
Agreed.
And with that,
Ditto.
say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
Good night,
Good
Dick.
night.